Grace and peace, beloved community of St. Luke's. This video is an unabashed thank you to you for taking me in and allowing me to serve you in the gospel. I was walking along and passing by different stores in downtown Park Ridge, and I stopped into Silver's, which is a little grilled grill and bar just across in a strip mall from the Pancake House, where I've gotten to know the owners and went by to have a beer and a grilled cheese and to say thank you. Walked by the flower store, where I've gotten to know the owner there, and was able to be available for her pastorally to say goodbye there. And then as I walked along Prospect from Tui, this beautiful church just emerged, and it made my heart feel warm. And then there are signs of welcome as I passed by and saw a well-stocked welcome box where people are free to take food that they need. And it says something to a person passing by, to me, and I hope to our neighbors, that this is a church that embraces its community and especially the most vulnerable. Other signs of welcome, rainbow flag, and the beautiful ramp to make our church accessible that Janet and I have been grateful to use. And then I thought back on the area we've covered together. My first meeting was a worship planning meeting for Thursday afternoons when we would make the videos because of the church service and enact the church service, film it, and then send it out on Sunday because none of us could be together. So I came at the tail end of that. And when I stepped into the almost empty church to preach, Ann Krentz Organ was kind enough to stay for the sermon, even though most of her parts had already been videoed, and sit in the pews and watch me so I didn't have to preach to the thin air. Little gestures like that for 2 years. I remember my time with Pastor Sally and the pastoral time we spent together as the transition emerged in her life and ministry. And I'm remembering our listening season that I did, the one-on-ones I did with you, and you were so gracious in letting me get to know you. And then the dream team, the vision team we put together, and how everyone was so willing to work on this. And this wasn't pastor driven. I was a spiritual guide, I hope, with Pastor David Nelson, my consultant. But you did the work. It was your ideas, your hopes, your dreams, your fears. And then when Pastor Sally had to leave, we again had to improvise and brought into much more focus the office work, and how wonderfully Debbie and Sylvia have picked up. And seeing through Sylvia's eyes, our church, her gratitude that this was a church where she was embraced, where her gifts were cherished, where her husband was baptized, and where we are helping her with her immigration status as she works for us in faith formation. And I watched Debbie take on that whole load then of finance and treasurer, and with great spirit and leaning on her mentors, Pastor John Schumacher, who stepped in as a visitation pastor. Things changed for me with you at about the time that I could concentrate on just one St. Luke, and that I could also, we then had the vision team done, the strategic plan, and we were beginning to get into view the call committee. And I felt like at about that time, I really started getting to know you. I wasn't as driven by keeping things sorted in two very vigorous congregations and by tasks that needed to be done, pulling together a vision team and a strategy and those kinds of things. And I felt all the time relaxed with you, but I really felt like our relationship blossomed and has these past several months. As we've moved into the life of Christ together. You sent cards to Janet, our congregation care folks and that ministry, and speaking to people who've been making calls and visits on people, some for 20 years, and helping mentor others into that wonderful, tender ministry of love. And us experiencing it ourselves as you sent us cards and food when Janet came out of the hospital, and Pastor John made a visit and prayed with my wife recently. So all of that and more. And it just feels so good to have been with you, but it also feels good that our future is bright. Pastor Kyle Severson is a wonderful pastor, someone that I have known and respected, and I couldn't have been happier when I heard that he was the servant coming to us. So, beloved, it's all good, and I will see you on Sunday. I will be spending a few days with Pastor Kyle next week, help him bridge into life. But I've already moved my books and boxes out of the office and down the road 5 miles to St. Philip in Glenview. And I'll be doing some work for Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services. And I will continue to relate to and coach and mentor as many leaders as I can, lay and clergy, in the days ahead. So, thank you. And to quote St. Paul, every time I think of you, it's with gratitude and thanks to God.